By the time I got to college, most people had already found their people. College can be a social battleground if you don't have the right personality for it. You know the type. Kids who'd known each other since kindergarten, now magically all enrolled in that same big city university, clumping up on the quad like they were still on high school lunch break. I watched them from the edges. I was the transfer kid, 2 hours and a lifetime away from the town that I actually grew up in, dropped into a place where nobody knew my name unless it was on some kind of roster. It wasn't that bad. At least we were all adults now. It's not like I was looking over my shoulder or anything. In real life, I was just quiet, not shy exactly, just kind of late to everything. Late to the parties, late to the study groups, late to know about the inside jokes. I'd walk through this maze of a brick building and these manicured lawns and just feel completely out of place. Everybody else seemed to already know their roles, and I was trying to find my seat. I didn't even know what I wanted to major in yet. Online though, I actually existed. I had my game mode tag, my Discord servers, my little islands of people who laughed at the same memes and stayed up way too late talking about nothing. I'd finish my night classes and go back to my shoebox dorm, then slide back into that glowing rectangle world where nobody cared that I sat alone inside the dining hall. It started off fairly simple, a couple of group chats, friends and friends of friends on Instagram, a few late night DMs that didn't feel like too big of a deal. Then somewhere at the end of my first semester, that stupid thought hit me. If I can make friends this way, then why not something more? Everybody else was meeting people, hookups, storm romances, drama. I heard it all through the paper-thin walls and half-closed doors. I was tired of listening in from the outside, so one night, lying in bed with my laptop warm up against my stomach, I downloaded that first real dating app and told myself it's not that big of a deal, just another place to exist and possibly actually be seen for once. The first week on the app was actually embarrassing. I matched with a few girls, but every connection collapsed after 5 messages, if not less. One-word replies, polite goodbyes, or just sudden silence. I kept pretending not to care, but the truth was obvious. I didn't know how to talk to people, and I couldn't keep anybody's interest. And then that's when Sabrina appeared. Her profile felt real. No heavily filtered selfies, no fake-looking glamour shots, just a girl with dark hair and a bright smile. And photos that showed actual personality. A gaming chair, controller, friends at an arcade bar. Her bio listed the same games that I actually played, watched the same shows. It felt like somebody had reached into my head and built my perfect match. I swiped right, with an instant match. I got a message almost immediately that said hey, with a smiley face. I stared at that message with my heart thudding. Most of these girls never message first. She did. Yowza. And then on, she was everywhere. Quick replies, constant energy, little jokes, random questions about my classes and my dorm situation. She sent short voice clips sometimes to me, soft and cheerful, comments that did not sound rehearsed. If she was fake, she was damn good at it. We talked every single night. I lie in bed with the phone 6 inches from my face, smiling like a complete idiot at everything she typed to me. Even thinking about it now, it was in fact pure bliss. By the end of the week, she was all I thought about. Then came the line that turned my brain into static. We should hang out. Smiley face. I reread it over and over before typing out yes. How about tomorrow, 7 p.m., the fountain on North Campus? It's quiet there. I would have met her behind a dumpster if she asked me to, but the fountain sounded perfect. So the next day kind of dragged ass. I kept checking my phone between classes to make sure the messages were actually still there. After dinner, showered, shaved, put on a clean shirt, even used cologne for the first time in God knows how long. My roommate asked if I was going to a wedding. At 6:45, I walked up that brick path toward the park and sent her a message. Here early. She responded back saying, running a little late, almost there. That's when I noticed the small detail that should have bothered me earlier. I didn't have her number. Everything that we'd said and talked about stayed within the app. Okay, maybe it didn't matter, I'll get it tonight, right? But my battery dropped from 10% to 5% in a blink of an eye. Great. How did I forget to charge my only way to contact this girl? I texted her quickly. My phone's dying, but I'm here. Almost there, came the response. Then my screen went black. I stood there with a dead phone in my hand, feeling like a complete idiot. People met up before smartphones existed. She knew the place, she knew the time. so I shoved my phone into my pocket and sat on the fountain bench. The water glowed blue underneath the lights, turning the closest cobblestone slick and shiny. Students passed through in twos and threes. A couple laughed on their way to the dorms. Every time somebody approached, I straightened up, thinking it was her. 7 came and went. Thankfully, I still had my watch to keep us both honest. I kept waiting. 7:10, nothing. 7:15, I started having thoughts. Trying not to jump to conclusions. Maybe she'd gotten stuck somewhere. Maybe she was dealing with roommate drama. Maybe she was, I didn't know, anything but standing me up. By 7:20, I couldn't sit any longer. I stood, walked a few steps, came back, sat, stood up, and repeat. The bench now felt like a stage, like I was waiting for somebody that might be actually watching me, and that thought creeped me out. I then drifted behind a line of bushes into a small grassy area. From there, I could still see the fountain, but I didn't feel as exposed. It was pretty dark back there, and with my dark clothes and no phone, I kind of blended right in. That's when another guy walked down the path. Not Sabrina, a guy. He checked his phone, glanced around, then sat by the fountain, and a chill went through my stomach. 2 minutes later, another guy approaches from the opposite direction, same sequence, looking around, checks his phone, and sits down. Then a third, then a fourth. There were a lot of benches in this little area, and all of them were harboring solo dudes looking at their phones. By 7:30, 5 or 6 guys sat scattered across the fountain, all around my age, all giving off that same nervous, expectant energy that I'd been drowning myself in 20 minutes earlier. I stared at them from the shadows and froze. They weren't random students, they were waiting, all waiting for the same girl, Sabrina. The thought didn't crash into me, it crawled into my head and then into my heart. I hadn't been stood up, I'd been baited. And I wasn't the only one. I watched the guys at the fountain for a moment longer before stepping out from behind the bushes. "Hey," I said aloud. "Is anybody here to meet somebody named Sabrina?" All 5 turned to me. One held up his phone. "Talking about her?" Of course, it was the same photos, same messages, same profile. "Yeah," I said. "I've been here since before 7. A few of them exchanged quiet, frustrated looks, but one guy, a thick-built dude with a shaved head, walked straight up to me, already pissed. "You're the one who did this?" he said to me. "What? No, I matched with her a week ago." "Bullshit." He jabbed a finger at me. "You set all this up. You were hiding in the bushes like a fucking weirdo." Before I could say anything else or respond, he shoved me, then he swung. His fist cracked up against my cheek and dropped me to the ground. My vision blurred, somebody shouted, and he hit me again. 2 guys grabbed him before he could swing once more. "Knock it off!" one of them yelled. "He's not the Catfish, dude, stop!" Shaved Head kept yelling anyway, trying to break free, but the others held him back. I stayed down for a few seconds, steadying my breathing, seeing if he broke my jaw. Then one of the quieter guys pointed toward the path. "Who's that?" We all looked over. A 6th guy stood several yards away, partially in the shadows, hood up, phone raised, recording us. He hadn't stepped in, he hadn't reacted, he was just filming. One of them called out and asked why he was recording us. The hooded guy lowered his phone slightly, enough for us to see his face. He wasn't confused or startled. He looked absolutely entertained. "What a bunch of losers," he said. "Pussy-ass virgins." Then he turned around and sprinted down the walkway. One of the guys chased after him for a few steps, but stopped once he cut around a corner and disappeared off into the dark. He moved like he had already planned out his escape. Nobody spoke right away. I guess we didn't really need to. We all understood everything that was happening at the same time. Sabrina wasn't real. One by one, the guys drifted off, some annoyed, some embarrassed, all of them making that silent walk of shame. Shaved Head stomped away last, still convinced that I had something to do with it. I walked home holding my jaw. My phone powered up when I got it back on a charger in my dorm, and I opened up the app immediately. Of course, Sabrina's profile was now gone. Completely too. No photos, no chat history, no account. It was like that entire conversation had been wiped clean the moment he got what he wanted. I sat on my bed staring at the screen, replaying how he looked at us, calm, amused, almost proud of his work. He'd been standing there with us the whole time, hiding in plain sight, waiting to see how we'd react, and the truth was revealed. Sometimes I think back about the way he said that word to us, that we were losers, like we weren't people, just material. like we were a project that he was working on. We didn't contact each other after that, just kind of walked away and cut our losses. We knew we took an L, so I guess why salt the wound even more? It was 2006, back when my entire world fit inside a very bulky Dell desktop in the corner of our living room. I spent most nights on MySpace because it was easier than trying to make friends at school. My parents had split that year. We moved across town, and I spent a lot of lunch periods texting on a flip phone just to feel like I had some semblance of a life. Emo boys were the thing at the time. Straightened hair, tight shirts, moody lyrics inside their statuses. Half the girls in my class were obsessed with boys online. I guess I wasn't really any different though. I met him in a MySpace chat room one night. Danny XXRarXX. Yeah. His profile picture was a skinny kid with long black bangs, pale skin, and a lip ring. Bathroom mirror pic. You know the type. Band poster taped crooked behind him. Exactly the kind of guy that everybody at school was daydreaming about. He actually messaged me first. "You seem chill. You from around here?" I remember how fast my fingers moved, how relieved I felt when anybody wanted to actually talk to me. And within the hour, I knew his favorite bands, his favorite soda, the name of the girl who broke his heart. He said he was 15, went to a high school a few miles away. And the wild part was that when a couple of girls at my school claimed they'd seen him around at games or something, or hanging out near parking lots. A real local kid, somebody my age, somebody into me. Pretty soon I'm logging in just for him, and it became the only part of my day that I actually looked forward to. Every message felt like proof that maybe I was not in fact invisible. Maybe I wasn't as alone as I thought I was. And for about a month, Danny and I were basically glued to each other online. Before school, after school, late at night, constant messaging. He always said the right things. He told me I was different, that he felt like he could talk to me about anything and everything. And at 13, with that kind of attention, it hit hard and I did not want it to stop. So naturally, I wanted to meet him. At first, I asked and he said yes without any hesitation. Totally, let's hang out. And then canceled the morning of. The next attempt, he got grounded. Another time, his phone broke. It became this pattern. Agree, cancel, and every time he apologized, I believed it. I was too invested to consider anything else. By week 5, I was done waiting. I pushed harder, telling him I didn't care if he didn't look exactly like his photos. I just wanted to see him in person. Okay, let's meet behind Dario's Pizza, 5 p.m. It wasn't a great spot, but it was close enough for me to walk to. Told my mom that I was heading to a friend's place, grabbed my small purse and headed out the door. My stomach was in knots that entire walk, equal parts excitement and dread as well. I kept looking at every passing car, half expecting somebody to roll a window down and call my name. I reached the alley a few minutes early. It looked very dismal, tight, dark, sour smelling from the dumpsters. I stood under the security light and texted him, "I'm here." No response. So I waited 5 minutes, then 10, and I called his phone, and it went straight to voicemail. I paced back and forth, checking both ends of the alley, telling myself he was probably sneaking out or stalling for some kind of dramatic entrance. And then I heard a vibration. Not my phone, but another one. The buzzing came from around the corner where the alley hooked behind the next building. I frowned and took out my phone and called his number again. The buzzing repeated, same rhythm, same timing, and a cold rush then hit my chest. I followed the sound slowly at first, then faster as the certainty grew in my stomach. I turned the corner and froze. A boy stood there, slouched up against a brick wall. Not Danny, not even close. He was pudgy, maybe a year or two older than me, with long greasy hair that covered half his face. He wore these faded black jeans and a hoodie that was riddled with safety pins. He held a phone in his hand. The screen lit up with an incoming call. Aubrey. My calls. He looked at me like he'd been caught doing something. "Hey," he said. His voice was low, really shy. "It's me, Danny." I shook my head. No, you're not him." Pushed his hair behind his ear like that might help the situation. I didn't get ready today, okay? I know I look different." "You're not the same person at all," I said. "That's not you." He took a small step toward me. It is me, I swear. I used to be thinner." I backed away, straight into somebody standing behind me. I gasped and spun around, but the second boy was already on top of me. Same clothes, same build, same filthy hair, older though, taller. He grabbed my waist and pulled me into him. "Oh," he said, laughing softly. "She's tiny." I tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. The first boy moved in front of me, blocking the view of the alley. They didn't look threatening in the movie villain sense, but they looked like kids who spent too much time online. But the way they crowded me left me no doubt. They knew exactly what they were doing. I felt them squeeze my chest and then my hips. "Relax," the first one said. "You said you wanted to hang out." "No," I said louder. "Let me go." "You talk big." The second boy breathed in my hair. "Don't pretend you didn't." I shoved the first one, but he grabbed my wrist. His hand was sweaty, shaky, like he was nervous and excited at the same time. "Don't freak out," he said. "We're being cool. We just want to move." I snapped and tried to wriggle free. He didn't. The second boy pressed closer, his hands moving up my sides. "Please stop," I said. My voice cracked. "That's not fair," the first boy said. "You said stuff. You can't just..." And that was it. Something in my brain flipped from scared to just done. I jerked my arm backward, ripping it from his hand, and slammed my shoulder into his chest. He stumbled, lost his balance, and the second boy lunged out to grab me, but only snagged my hoodie by the sleeve. The seam tore as I twisted, forcing myself out into the open stretch of that alley. They shouted behind me, overlapping each other, yelling at me to wait. "Come back, you promised." I didn't look back. I ran full sprint down the alley, toward the yellow glow of the pizza place's sign, towards people, noise, anything but them. I heard their footsteps pounding after me, heavy and uncoordinated, but determined. They weren't giving up. "Please," one of them yelled. "Just talk to us." "Nobody's mad," the other one shouted. I ran even faster. I could feel them losing ground, wheezing, stumbling, but still chasing me, still calling out my name. Then my online user handle. I burst out of the alley into the crowded front of Dario's. The smell of pizza and fryer oil hit me immediately, making me sick, but I didn't slow down. I shoved through the door, almost tripping as I reached the counter. A couple eating near the window stared at me like I was causing a scene, but I didn't care. I pulled out my flip phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. When dispatch picked up, my words came out all at once. "There's two guys, they grabbed me, they tried to corner me, they're still out there." Dispatch asked where I was, and I told her. She told me to stay inside, that officers were on the way. Her voice was calm and steady, and for the first time since stepping into that alley, I felt like I was actually safe. I kept glancing at the windows, kept expecting to see one of the boys pressed up against the glass, scanning the restaurant for me. That thought made my chest tighten like I was having an asthma attack. I backed myself into a booth but stayed standing, ready to bolt at any moment. A worker asked if I needed water, and I nodded at him without speaking. It felt like forever, but I think 10 minutes later the cops finally show up. Two officers come inside to talk to me, while another went around the back. I gave them everything I had, what the boys looked like, what they said, where I'd been standing when they grabbed me. My hands wouldn't stop trembling, no matter how hard I tried to steady them. A radio crackled on one of the officers' shoulder, and a voice said, "We've got them. Far into the alley, both matching the description, trying to avoid us." I don't know what that felt like in the moment. Relief, I guess, but also this strange numbness, like my brain had flipped a switch to tone down my anxiety. The officers asked if I wanted to press charges, and I didn't hesitate. "Yeah," I said, "absolutely." They took my mom's number next, and that was the part I dreaded the most. What she'd say when she found out I'd been sneaking around to meet boys from the internet. But when she arrived, she didn't yell, just wrapped her arms around me and asked if I was okay, if I was hurt. The officers brought me back out so I could identify the boys. I stayed behind the patrol car door, but I could see them clearly, both red-faced, sweating and out of breath. The greasy hair, the safety pin hoodie, the older one rubbing his hands together nervously. They wouldn't look at me, but kept glancing at each other, confused and irritated, like they couldn't understand why I reacted the way I did. Seeing them like that, pathetic and cornered, should have made me feel better, but it didn't. This really all happened to me. The police walked them to the cruiser, hands cupped behind their backs, one mumbling something under his breath, maybe an apology or some kind of excuse. I didn't care. I kept my eyes on the pavement. After that night, I deleted my MySpace, deleted AIM, stopped signing into any kind of chat rooms, ever. I didn't trust screens anymore, not when I knew firsthand how easily somebody could slide through them, pretending to be who they thought you wanted them to be. It's strange thinking back on it now. I was 13, I thought I was talking to my dream boy, but I was really talking to a stranger with greasy hair and a stolen photo, waiting for the right moment to lure me into a dark place. People always say the internet was simpler back then, but it wasn't. Not for me.